Here we go again. Welcome again, PCQIs. This topic involves validation, so I'm jumping on this one really quick. So on our validation form, we have boxes that we need to check off. One, basically it says initial validation within 12 months of implementation. So now that we're looking at the hazard analysis and some of those recommendations, in this example, let's say those are going to be implemented. So obviously we need to do an initial validation for that. Second part of this is validation reassessment due to changes made in raw materials or source of raw materials, product formulation, processing methods or systems, including computers and their software, packaging, finished product, and rate or type of consumer complaints. So those are the reassessment side. And then we have the annual validation reassessment of the Listeria hazard analysis to be made part of our PEM, right? Our pathogen environmental monitoring plan for the plant. So that's something that we're gonna take a look at. Okay, so the first part of this is the product evaluation format. So on the product evaluation, some of the questions that are asked is if there is any product classification changes, meaning is it RTE or non-RTE. So this is very, very important because non-RTE product conforms to the Listeria requirements quite differently than ready to eat. So that's the first thing we need to ask. What is the classification of your finished product? Okay, so that kind of gives us that process flow to follow between RTE and RTE. The next one is I look at the product description changes. Was there any changes on the description or the intended use for the consumer and process, etc., right, for the intended use of the product? So product description changes is the first one. Is there a change in the formula, right, on the formulation part of it, to see if it has, and then if there are yeses on these things, why do we ask these? Are there any implication? One, on food safety, that's one. Two is on the Listeria being made part of the PEM plan, right? Do we need to make changes on that? And we're going to talk about those type of things on the next videos. Ingredients and packaging materials, are there any changes to that, that are a part of that system? A new product consumption or storage method for that. Is it ready to cook, heat to eat, for the non-RTE segment of this validation? Are there any new suppliers? And obviously on the new suppliers, we've talked about on the previous hazard analysis, first part of this series is having the supplier test for Listeria prior to shipping that product to our facility, right? So that's one part of it. So I look at that if there are new suppliers. Process flow changes. Are there any new process flow based on formula changes? It could be sometimes these happen if there are issues with QCPs, some of the quality control points on the product, and certain process had to change, to be implemented to achieve that. Are there any finished product distribution changes for that? So is the movement of the product, through the market change, and your transportation part of the distribution is really what I look for and assess at this point. How are we shipping it? Did the SHI, the shipping and handling instruction change? That's also going to affect some of the validation that we're going to do. on the product evaluation is also production volume. Has it increased? So there's implication in that on production value just based on movement of people, utilities, materials in and out of the zones. So those are the type of things as a PCQI you need to pay attention to, okay? And then we'll talk about the other evaluation processes on the next video. Thank you for for listening in. Like I said, if you have additional comment or concerns or would like to add on some of the best practices that I'm talking about, please email info@consultaireinc.com. All right, thank you.